What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the issaMonologues channel. So it's been about a week since I put a video out, I think it's been. And over the past week, I've really been thinking about my next video and what I wanted to talk about. And it's crazy. Not really, because there's no such thing as coincidences. You know, it's all connected. But I was about to say it's crazy again. It's not crazy that the topic that I've been dwelling on all week really is balance. Like, I've been thinking about this word. Honestly, I've been thinking about this word, this concept for years in my life. Like, it's something that I've been trying to master, if you will, but I am still trying to figure it out. Like, balance is so key. It's very, very integral to like making sense of life to me in the way that I see it. So this week it came about because, as I mentioned in one of the more like most previous videos that I did, we recently had a death in the family on my husband's side. So I have been you know, kind of like preoccupied with all that entailed with the death of my father-in-law, and just kind of like being there morally and like physically doing things for my in-laws and my husband. And so just 2 weeks ago, I was putting videos out like every day of the week. Every day of the week I was putting videos out, and so I started to integrate that into my everyday schedule because I realized that it was very doable. Like, I was like, oh, okay, this was like pre-death, before I lost my father-in-law. So I was like, okay, this is something I can do every day, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of like worked it into my schedule. It was kind of like the same time of day that I was recording, same time of day that I was editing and posting videos, kind of thing. So I was really empowered by the fact that I could like work that into my schedule, like on some day-to-day, everyday thing. Because prior to then, I was not consistent at all with making videos. And so that was that, right? And then life happened. We had a death in the family, which is a priority. You know, it's a priority for me to be there for my family and things like that. And it just got me to think, because every day that would pass by and I'm like, I'm not recording a video today, blah, blah, blah. I started to like think about this balance thing and like priorities and what is what, because when I recently changed my schedule and incorporated, you know, making videos every day, or at least like 5 to 6 a week kind of thing. Like, if I miss a day here or there, then it's like, okay, well, I'm still putting on like 5 videos a week, then I'm not really tripping off of a day. But then like one day turns into like 3 days, and then 3 days turns into, okay, well, what's wrong with putting out one video a week? Like, you know, and then I start to get into that. So that's what I was kind of thinking about this week. Like, just, and this is just an example, obviously, like making videos on YouTube and my family stuff. Like, I'm not comparing them by any means. I'm just thinking about this idea of like balancing things in our life, because obviously a lot of what I've been talking about and what I've been personally working on, which if you're here watching this video, you probably are as well, is like leveling up in your life in general, and just kind of taking the reins and controlling who you want to be and how you want to live your life and what you want to do. And a lot of that, I'd say in the beginning, or not the beginning, but the first part that's essential to that is obviously the mental and what you're telling yourself and what you're believing you can do. But then you actionably need to do things afterwards to back that up to actually see different results, right? So all that being said, when I talk about balance, like if you do incorporate something new into your schedule, like your day-to-day life, or just something that you're working on that you're trying to make that a part of you, and you know, in your change and your progression and what you're trying to do, sometimes that takes away from other areas in our life that we may already be leveled up in, or we may be working on other levels as well. So I found that when I was doing the videos every day, I was empowered by that, and I felt like motivated, and I was like, cool, this is something like new or whatever, and I'm doing it. I found a way to fit it into my schedule. Cool. But then I started to remember, like, oh, I still have like other things to do in life. Like, I have other responsibilities, and I just keep almost dropping this camera. And just to a little bit like branch off of this, I just wanted to kind of like side note here and say, I had this conversation with one of my best friends the other week, and we were kind of, I guess you could say, discussing like the pros and cons of being like a single individual, like a person who is not, who doesn't have children yet or isn't married and things of that nature, right? And then a person who like has a family structure of that sort. And so, you know, we were just kind of not debating, but we were just kind of both articulating our own perspectives on it. And my perspective to her as a person who is single and who doesn't have children yet was to kind of like take advantage of this time that you do have by yourself, where you don't have as much shared responsibility or sole responsibility of like a whole nother human being and things like that. Like, take advantage of that time to really be who you want to be and really like discover yourself in ways that, as I'm doing it now as a person who is married, who does have children, it's not that it's impossible to do, not at all, but I just really wish I did this before I met my husband, or even while I was with my husband. Like, I just wish I did this like so long ago. It's one of those things, like, you always hear, I don't want to say older people like I'm so much older, I'm not, but you always hear people say like, you know, take advantage of your youth and do things in your 20s and blah, 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 like whatever, you know, the things that people say to young people, like that kind of thing. They're so right, like, but you know, we don't want to listen when we're teenagers or when we're early 20s kind of thing. It's like no one, because you just want to do what you want to do at the time. And a lot of times it's not that. It's not discovering yourself because you think you know yourself and all these other things. But I just wanted to pop that in there because if that's you, like if you are, you know, single, if you don't have children yet, or either of the two, or whatever the case may be, if you find that your schedule really does allow you to do what you want with your time for a lot of time, that is the perfect opportunity to really delve into exactly who you want to be and what you want to do. Because if I had more hours in the day that my daughter was sleeping, that's really the time of day, yeah, when she's napping or when she's asleep at night, like those are my chances, my opportunities to really like pay attention to whatever else it is that I'm doing, whatever kind of research I'm doing, or like I said, if I'm, you know, editing my YouTube videos, or my husband and I run a business together. So it's like, it's really difficult to do things when you have like a toddler running around. And like I said about shared responsibility, if you have other people that are kind of like counting on you to do certain things for your household, for them, or whatever the case may be, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to do what you want to do, like on a personal note. It's not, I was about to say it's like the selfish stuff that you want to do, but it's not, I don't know if I want to call it selfish either, because it's like, you're still an individual. Like, you are still your own self, even when you do have children, even when you have a family. It's just, sometimes we get blinded and kind of forget those things because we have these schedules of things that, like, okay, on Sunday you better be going grocery shopping or else we won't have any food Sunday night kind of thing. So that was just like a little side note that I was thinking about. If it pertains to you, maybe you needed to hear it. And if it doesn't, that doesn't mean like you're in the same boat as me. It doesn't mean that you can't still do these things. But that's why balance is so important, because even with schedules, like, life happens and things pop up, and we have to give ourselves grace during those times where our schedule didn't go as planned, because schedules aren't always going to go as planned. It's just kind of like a guideline to set when you're kind of forgetting what you're supposed to be doing, because that's so me. Like, I get distracted all the time. If I don't have a schedule that tells me the to-do list for today is X, Y, and Z, then I will 9 times out of 10 totally forget that I had to go to the post office this morning. Yeah, until like 11, 12 o'clock. That's exactly what happened today. It's like, if I don't literally write it down, set an alarm on my phone, that has been so helpful to me. Setting alarms on my phone, and like a million alarms like a day on my phone, because if I don't listen, if it is not like right in front of my face, sometimes even then, it's like I'm really not even thinking about it. So I feel like I'm just kind of getting, like, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit about other things, but it's all coming back. It's circling back, right, to this concept of balance and like balancing things in our life. But I say all this to say, that we need to be, like, when we're working on, let's say, one area of our life that we're really trying to excel in, we can't neglect the other areas of our life that need attention. And so, like I said earlier, it may be that you're already excelling in certain areas in your life, but now you're moving on to something new. That doesn't mean you neglect or you stop learning or working on or tending to whatever other areas you feel like are solid, are good, because you can always fall off from something. Let me be the one to tell you, you can always fall off from an area that you feel like you've mastered or whatever. You know, the people who are best at whatever their professions are, they don't stop at getting a degree and going into it. They continue learning, they continue training and things of that nature. It's like the learning never stops. And so any skill that you have or area of your life that you feel like you're A1 in, like, you gotta keep going always. So you just want to keep building off of that into new things, but you can't forget about those other things. And that's something that I had to remember within this past couple of weeks, that you know, my schedule has kind of been a little what's going on here, do I have time to do this or whatever, that kind of a thing. And yeah, so life happens. So I guess I'm here to say, give yourself grace if things don't always work out as planned, but you know the difference between like real priorities that come up that doesn't allow you the opportunity to do something that you plan to do versus bullshitting. Because like we've talked about this, right? Like the procrastinating thing or making excuses thing, like that's something else. And you know the difference. I know the difference. We know the difference when we're doing those things. But balance. I want someone else to give me like a philosophical understanding of this word, because I say this all the time, but like these words that we think are like basic, and I learned what balance meant when I was like 6 or 7 or something, like these words, they've just run so much deeper. And I want someone to please comment down below, maybe many of you, but please comment down below and give me your perspective on the concept of balance, not necessarily the definition of it, because anyone can just look that up right now. The concept of balance and how you feel that's like integrated within your life, or if you feel like you need more balance in your life, like tell me about that, because I'm so intrigued by this concept, not like the word, the concept of balance, you know? So anyways, it's kind of getting a little dark out here, you guys. I had to fit this video in when I could, and that means it's kind of like dark and rainy outside. But thank you guys so much for watching, and also for bearing with me, because it's been about a week since I put a video out. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.